Indiana Fever many fans is still poking fingers at head coach Stephanie White for actually making the game not entertaining anymore, bro. This motion offense has to be addressed, and Stephanie White has to be held accountable because it's truly the offense that she's running, and it is not for Caitlin Clark at this point. Now, both Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White spoke to the media immediately.
What precisely happened in the background? You will need to witness this press conference in order to believe it. Caitlin Clark recently revealed her health in a very direct and honest manner, and she didn't mince words when speaking to Stephanie White. Was there any shade? Was it accurate?
Was a jump shot used to wrap it?
Was it served cold as well? Not at all. This video of Caitlin is unedited. Let's assume that everyone is grabbing popcorn and gaping.
At times, we could have played a little bit faster, and I think that's on me, like, not conceding in that. We still got to play up-tempo. We still got to play fast. But, I mean, I thought for the most part we did a lot of stuff that Coach wanted us to do, and, you know, that wasn't why we lost.
I can't hold you, man. That kind of looked like she let that slip out, man. I don't know. But, I mean, we all see it. When they play slow, it's just not a good team, man. They're not as good as we see that they could be, right? So they need to play fast, man. I think, you know, they don't necessarily look that good when they're playing half-court ball. Maybe taking something from the Valkyries, man. The Valkyries run, all right? They be running.
Though she doesn't seem worn out, she does seem spiritually dehydrated. Caitlin Clark is surviving on coffee, smoke, and unwavering resolve, despite the WNBA treating every challenge she faces like a twisted version of American Ninja Warrior, but with worse coaches and officials. As she avoids landmines, the hardwood is forgotten.
The league needs to take care of Caitlin, not for special treatment purposes, but that's who everybody's there to see. Everybody wants to see Caitlin Clark play. And if you let other teams and other people beat the shit out of her, she's going to spend 2 weeks out injured. And your attendance is going to drop because people aren't going to get the chance to see her. And if you actually want to be paid the same as the NBA players, obviously not by actual dollar for dollar, but for revenue percentage, you need to protect her. You need her to be playing at her best and not be having the...
She must have been mistaken for a tackling dummy by the officials. She is now their favorite chew toy in addition to being the spokesperson for hope growth and ticket sales. Missed calls are no longer the only issue here. Referees measure how many illegal screens and shoulder bumps a player can tolerate before losing their mind in this full-fledged experimental research project.
Las Vegas Aces defeated the Indiana Fever 89-81. And this game was disappointing for many fans, not only for the fact that it seemed like the Fever had this one in the bag, but they kind of gave it away at the end of the game, but also because it seemed like there was something off with this Fever team. They didn't have the same energy and spark that we all know and love. So many fans are asking, what is good?
The whistles are now wind instruments that only sound when she is performing. Suddenly, the rulebook appears to be a choose-your-own-adventure book written in a chaotic manner. It keeps playing if someone sneezes on her. However, she faces a blatant 2-game punishment and a 5-game suspension if she breaths near someone.
I have figured out the solution to the Indiana Fever's problems. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. This is what we got to do. We got to put Caitlin Clark off ball. We need to run a motion offense. So when the defense takes away what Caitlin Clark does best, we have other players that can still perform. So when she does have bad games, we're not completely dead in the water. I think that is the best way to move forward with this Indiana Fever.
Physicality is prohibited and not a validly suspicious metaphor. We might need to look into whether some of these defenders have brass knuckles taped under their wristbands because there are muggings that involve less touch these days. Furthermore, how does the league react to passive-aggressive Instagram posts that portray its biggest star as irrelevant while acting as if nothing is wrong? Or worse, crickets? Let's not even discuss Indiana. Gatorade and dashed hopes enhance the gloomy atmosphere, which is reminiscent of a haunting group therapy session. It appears that Caitlin joined a franchise that sells just IKEA furniture, which is fragile, unsteady, and challenging to construct. Instead of throwing a grand party for a generational talent, as one might expect, Indiana handed her a paper towel and pointed her in the direction of a leaking faucet. While her teammates are playing hungry hippos, she is trying to play 4D chess. There are only vibrations, not the good kind, and no system or direction. The offense is not clear. Stephanie White is somehow on the sidelines coming up with plays like she's playing Pictionary with invisible ink while the defense is non-existent.
First, talk about Caitlin Clark. So she struggled once again in this game. She was 7 for 20 from the field and 1 for 10 from 3, which puts her at 1 for 17 over the past few games. And if you're a fan of Caitlin Clark, you know that this is so unlike her. She is arguably the best shooter in the WNBA, and she is having a significant cold streak over the past 2 games. But her missing shots isn't actually what bothers me. The thing that bothered me most in the game yesterday was the one shot that she passed up. Now, she had been missing a few shots, and if you guys were on my live stream, I said the thing that she needs to do is to continue shooting. Shooters shoot. The only way to break a cold streak is to continue shooting.
Stephanie White is pointing while standing in a noisy drive-thru, seemingly getting coffee. Additionally, Clark seems to be staring into space whenever he glances at the bench. The game shifts from coaching to interpretative dancing as it gets more chaotic. As they attempt to determine which version of the plan they are adhering to, the players are experiencing a full-blown existential crisis. Park used to have a crisp, explosive game, but these days it appears like it's buffering and her passes are a bit late. She requires a quick pace in 1 minute. She screams about patience the next time. Her confidence is a touch shaky, so she is wary where she formerly attacked with wild creativity. Sincerely, who wouldn't strive to play basketball at the best level while always keeping an eye out for flying elbows and checking your bench for signs of a reasonable life at this pace? Instead of reducing its stars to stale highlight videos and regret, this league aims to preserve and uplift them. However, a league that pleaded for her genius but failed to foster it is now gradually draining her. Since what is being done to Caitlin is psychological warfare rather than just awful basketball, she will require a sabbatical, an exorcist, or possibly both.
What'd you say? Wait, what? Did you just tell me that Stephanie White went on an interview tour this whole entire offseason saying exactly that? Did you just tell me Stephanie White went on an interview? So how come when Caitlin Clark has a bad game, this team looks like absolute dog shit? How come when Caitlin Clark isn't busy backpacking this team, it looks like absolute dog shit? Coach, just a question. Just a question. What we saw today, folks, I feel bad for everybody that had to sit through that. Everybody that wasted 2 hours and 25 minutes watching the Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces. I feel bad that we had to sit through that. That was a tough watch.
Furthermore, she hasn't even yet found her sophomore stride. This is meant to be the glow-up season, the big jump, the I know what I'm doing now period. Rather, she is attempting to survive the Hunger Games with a bunch of mismatched teammates with a water gun. Additionally, league officials are playing Sudoku with regulations that are nearly lyrical in a tragic Shakespearean manner while the fan base is screaming for assistance. As like she's discovered some secret plan that only exists in parallel universes, Stephanie White, a generational talent stuck in a Groundhog Day remake where every game is just a remix of disappointment and injured ribs, never stops smiling during press conferences.
I think you have to look at things a little bit holistically. I think Caitlin Clark is a really hard player to officiate, much like Diana Taurasi was throughout the course of her career, for a couple of reasons. Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her.
She needs a plan for getting out. It will be harder for her to recuperate the longer she stays in this mental maelstrom. No, losing games isn't the only issue here. Her identity as a player is being lost as the league looks on helplessly. The fact that they signed her to every camera and sponsorship agreement as soon as she became a professional and are now allowing her to slip behind post entries and meaningless babble handles is confusing. She isn't your typical player. The reason people are watching is because of her. Despite this, They are continually experimenting with illogical rotations and treating lineups like a Pinterest board. If no one is going to save her, she must save herself, because this is the type of setting that damages your soul in addition to your stats. To be honest, the fans and she both deserve better.